how would you tie Arab people into the family of Abraham?
Okay, the tradition is that they come from Abraham, that they are descendants through Ishmael, and then through Esau. And they themselves are aware of that. I mean, the traditional genealogies tie them back into Ishmael, to Abraham. So they see themselves as Abrahamic.
And Gaddafi saw himself as a Bedouin.
Yeah, he did.
Which would be through Keturah.
Yeah. Now, and here's the other thing. Arab is used in very different ways in early Arabic. In the Quran, the Arabs, al-Arab they call them, are not the city dwellers. It's only the Bedouins. Those were the Arabs, the real Arabs. Now it comes to just refer to anybody. You can live in a big city like Cairo or something like that and still be an Arab. But in the old days, I don't think they would have considered city dwellers as Arabs. Al-Arab were the people who live in tents out in the desert. So, and the word Arab is probably related to the word Hebrew. It probably has to do with something with the idea of traversing territories, crossing deserts, things like that. That seems to be the root idea behind it. So again, they're related, and that's what's made the conflict sometimes all the worse. You know, civil wars and family spats can sometimes be worse than battles between people who have nothing in common with each other. So.
Did Ishmael have 12 sons?
Yes. Yeah, he did. So very similar. And yeah, so anyway, do you all recognize this building, by the way? Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, okay. The oldest Islamic building on earth, by the way. There's one older in Cairo, but it only exists, it's only one corner, basically. It still survives. So this is the oldest intact Muslim building, built in the 690s, the early 690s. Okay, so those are the Arabs, and they speak a language, as I've been emphasizing, that's related to Hebrew. It's what's called a Semitic language. The name comes from Shem, and so Arabic, Hebrew, Babylonian, these are all Semitic languages. Canaanite, Ugaritic, today some of the Ethiopic languages, they're Semitic languages, mostly are. And so it's a family of languages, quite distinct from ours, which is called Indo-European. The Indo-European language family includes German and Russian and French and Latin and Greek and English, and for that matter, Persian and Sanskrit and Hindi, all the way over to India. They're all related languages, but Arabic is distinct, along with Hebrew and the Semitic language family. So, yeah.
That's a little different question than I've got now, but looking at the Dome of the Rock and thinking about the temple that's being built, that's supposed to be really close to this, or is it in the place of it? Now, I've read that the church has property to the side of the Dome of the Rock.
We don't own any property on the Temple Mount.
Oh.
That's all owned by the Arab authority there. But where will the temple be built in the last days? It's a good question. Where was the ancient temple? We don't know. A lot of people think it was right on the spot where the Dome of the Rock is, and that the rock that the dome covers, it's right underneath the apex of the dome, was the high point of Mount Moriah. So that would be the spot where Abraham sacrificed his son, or almost sacrificed his son. He didn't. Don't want to confuse you on that story. You know that story. But then there are others who think that the temple may have actually stood about 50 yards, 100 yards to the north, still on that temple platform. The trouble is there's no way of knowing because the site is archaeologically clean. There is nothing there. I mean, it's just been cleared off. The Romans were very effective, and they just pushed all the stones off. There's nothing left to help you know. Now, devout Jews won't go up onto the Temple Mount for fear that they might walk on the spot where the Holy of Holies once was and desecrate it. So they just don't go near it. So very important building, though. Third holiest place in the Islamic world, as well as being holy to Jews. Yeah.
Why can't you go in?
You used to be able to. I used to go in the Dome of the Rock all the time. It was easy to walk in. And then over the years, it became harder and harder and harder to get in. The hours were weird and they changed constantly. And now you basically can't get in. Even if I remember once going over and trying to charm my way in. I was talking to the guy sitting at the door right there. And I thought I was really doing well. You know, he was saying, "Oh, you speak Arabic so well," and all this sort of thing, which isn't true, but hey, they're easy to please. So I said, "Well, I've got these my neighbors here who were with me on a tour. It was the first time I did a cruise lady tour. A bunch of my neighbors came. And I said, they don't know anything about Islam. They've never been in a mosque, and they really, really are interested. I thought I'd play the sort of investigator card. You know how Mormons react. You know? Oh, come on in, you know. And this guy was smiling, you know. He said, oh, wow, yeah. He said, that's great that they're interested. And so I said, so is there any chance that we could just step inside for a minute? And he, no. No, there isn't.